guys know that prospecting is still a thing? You know, like the gold rush days? People are still doing that today. Now, they do it more for a hobby these days, but they're still finding gold, real life gold. So, whether it's a hobby for you or you just want a fun adventure, North Carolina Treasure Hunters Campground is where we got a spark of adventure. Here's our story, part one, we're calling The Ship. I came across this campground online. It sounds cool, right? Well, I like to camp, I like treasure, and I'm always up for an adventure. So I dug a little bit, online digging that is, to find out that a father and a son found a gold ship from the 1900s buried on their land. This ship is still on their property today. So we just pulled in here at North Carolina Treasure Hunters Campground, and we're super stoked to do some fossil hunting, maybe some gold panning. Here I have Ross with me. He's the owner of this. And one of the most unique things that drew me to this, Ross, was your boat that you found. Tell us a little bit about this.
So this property actually is a part of the Portis gold mine from the mid 1800s. And in 1905, they had a couple that came down here, and it's a very unique story. These people were like some swindlers from out of state, and they learned that this was a very rich area for gold mining. Well, they decided they were going to come down and go to the local bars in this area and get a lot of people to invest into their gold dredge. They would bring people out to this area, and it was a $100 bond. So you had to spend $100 to invest in it to get a percentage out of it. So once they sold enough bonds, they had this ship built. So once they got all the money together to build it, they hijacked it. They just took everything and they left. Well, they didn't know that this area of North Carolina, these people don't play around. And the bounty hunters came and they went and found them.
Oh, wow.
They got them and they made them pay the money back, and they built that ship. I want to say they found over $3 million worth of gold in early 1900s.
Sometimes my imagination can run wild, and when I read they had found a gold ship, all I pictured in my mind was a pirate ship, something kind of like the Black Pearl, sitting in the middle of North Carolina.
So what we're coming up on, so the actual structure of the boat is fell over or is not there, or we haven't dug it up yet. So what you'll be able to see, it'll look like two pontoons. Now this is where the bucket line would go down below it, and that's what actually dug the dirt. And it would go to a grizzly, and it would feed a trommel, and then all the tailings would come out to chute in the back. That was a 75-foot chute. This is a 30-foot bucket line. But the only thing that what you'll see, kind of get your eyes adjusted to it, is the pontoons on it, where it went down into the middle, and then the rest of it is whole. But the left side of it fell over, and you can see where the window and the door and all that stuff is there. And it's incredible because the paint's still on the boat.
I may not have found what was in my imagination, but instead I found something in reality that was a whole lot better. I found an area rich in history, some gold stories. I even found the remains of a floating gold ship that dredged gold. And then I found a family that was willing to teach you all they know about prospecting and share their story with you. And all that was just as fascinating as anything I could have dreamt up. The size of this boat was amazing. Just hearing the story about how they found it on their property was super cool to hear. The family tells us that they plan to excavate the ship, restore it back to its glory days so that they can share it with others, which I absolutely love, that they are taking their passion and the treasure that they found and turning it into a family business of camping, gold mining, and fossil hunting. Sometimes you just never know how an adventure is going to pan out, but this one turned out to be a gem. With our campground reservations, we were able to take a tour of the ship, which we really enjoyed and heard all the cool stories. Now, the campground is new and it's growing. We liked the site we were given. It came with free firewood and a picnic table. The campground has a porta potty, and if you don't want to bring your camper or your tent, there is a cabin that you can rent, and they have just put up a teepee that can also be rented. Now, if this has given you a spark of adventure, be sure to check out part 2 of this series to learn all about the fossils and the gold we found. And then if this is something you want to do, you can check out Ross and his family at North Carolina Treasure Hunters Campground on Facebook. You can also find out more about their story on Eastern Outdoor Expeditions. Like and subscribe for a spark of adventure.